when you start reloading, the other expense you'll want to go ahead and plan for is about 25 to 35 bucks for a good reloading manual. I've actually lent mine out to a buddy of mine, so I don't have it around. I have like the Lyman 29th edition, I think it is. I'm about to buy the Hornady latest edition. I'll probably pick that up today. I'm going to go to the gun store, but just it's good to have out because it'll tell you what type of load for what type of caliber for what weight of bullet that you're using, and it'll tell you what kind of powder and how much to use. So let's go ahead and assume we got home from the range, threw all our brass in the tumbler, we got it all clean, and we separated it. I've got some separating techniques. I've got some like old coffee cans that I use for 9mm, 40, 45. I can't really see on the end, but I got some 223 up here. So I usually keep dirty cases separated up here. And then once they're clean, I have different methods for storing them in boxes, like plastic boxes. Some of them I just have out loose because I reload a lot. So I've got 45 up top, some 40 in the center, and then 9mm at the bottom. So when I get ready to load, I can just grab a few handfuls out, throw them onto my bench here, and the only step I'm at right now is they've just been cleaned. So they're a little shinier, they're cleaned. And the reason why that's good because then it allows me to go ahead and do some quick inspection as I'm picking them up. See if I can get this to focus in a little bit. So yeah, I basically am looking for cracks, bends, anything that I don't think, like little tiny stuff like that's fine. I mean, I'm not really worried about it. I usually don't use brass more than like 3 or 4 times. After that I just kind of toss it. And I have a method for keeping track of that. By using a red Sharpie that I would mark across the bottom of my rounds for the first time I load it, blue for the second time, and purple for the third time. So if I see purple on a shell casing, I know I've picked it up and I know I've already loaded it a couple times before. I'll kind of just make a judgment call. But you know what? I go through so much that it's usually not a problem. So I usually just do a quick inspection when I pick up the brass after it's been cleaned here. And just looking, like I said, for anything, if it looks even slightly suspect, goes right there in the garbage. So I don't even waste time. If it looks even a little bit off, as far as like there might be like a little bit of a crack or something like that, I just toss it. It's not worth it. It's not worth chancing anything, like ruining a gun or hurting yourself. So I just do a quick look, kind of just do, make sure it's pretty clean inside. Sometimes you can use a pocket cleaner. Most of the time, after I get done through the tumbler, I don't really need to. But this is like what a pocket cleaner looks like. And you basically use one side for small shell cases and the bigger one for like say 45, that kind of thing, 40. So basically we are at the step where we're going to start the reloading process. So I just wanted to kind of walk through like basically what you're kind of get into. I'd say realistically you're going to spend about 110 bucks for a kit, 20 bucks for some powder. Primers, depending upon where you get them online, you can get them cheap, but I just go ahead and plan, 100, which come in a little pack like this, for like $4 or $5 if you buy them individually, or you can usually buy like 1,000 for like 35 or 40 bucks. You can kind of shop around a little bit. The brass, like I said, you can pick up from the range, or you can buy it in bulk. I like leobrass.com. It's pretty good if you just want to buy a crap ton of brass. Bullets, these are just Rainer bullets. I think I paid like $60 for 500 of these. Sometimes I load, a lot of times defensive rounds as well, like Hornadys. These are like $18 per 100, jacket hollow points. So basically, you're looking at like $5 per 100, 20 bucks for a bottle, 60 bucks for 500 of those. Pick up your brass for free, 110 bucks for the press kit. The only other things that I'm going to tell that you're going to want to buy is a reloading manual, possibly a tumbler in the beginning if you're not buying clean brass online or something. Go ahead and invest into a tumbler. And you're also going to need, I have a manual scale that comes with the kit, which is really crappy. I actually plan on getting a better manual scale. Also get a digital scale. This one is about 30 bucks. It's a MTM. It weighs in grains, ounces, and something else, which I can't remember, but we weigh in grains when we're reloading. And then also you're going to want a caliper, which you can get from like Northern Tool or even Lowe's or anything like this. This is a really cheap one. I think I got it for like 15 bucks at Lowe's. It's a digital caliper, so you can measure. Looks like my battery died on this thing, but it has a manual slide on it too. These are good for measuring the length, what's called the OAL, the overall length. And I keep track of my recipes online. I keep a record of them online, but I also write them down, so when I'm reloading, I know what works well for me. So for the Hornady XTP 147 grain jacket hollow point, I know that 4.7 grains of unique is the sweet spot for me, with a CCI 500 pistol primer and a OAL overall length of 1.10 inches. So that this works well for me. Same thing for Hornady XTP 230 grain jacket hollow point, 45 ACP. These are my sweet spots. So it's always good to keep track of your numbers, write them down, start your own recipe book, because you're gonna want to load like 50 rounds or 20 rounds, try them out. Maybe you might tweak the load a little bit. The load refers to the amount of gunpowder that you're putting into the charge. So, you know, I would suggest when you start loading out, don't just go full bore and try to load like 500 rounds. Load 50 rounds, load 20 rounds, take them to the range, see how they fire. Make sure they cycle through your different guns. Make sure they're not misfiring, that you've got enough powder to you know, use the primers, the powder you're using, everything is kind of copacetic. Once you get some good consistency there, then you can start tweaking the recipe a little bit and kind of build some consistent, like, okay, these are the loads I'm going to use for these rounds, and I know they'll work every time, so I can sit here and load 500 and I know I'm good to go. Okay, so the next step is we've inspected our cases. You can see I've got a pile here laying here. I've gone through and I've inspected all of them, and what I'm looking for is any cracks or anything that would make me believe like it's not really a good candidate for reloading. Most of the time I'm pretty good, but if you have one that has cracks in it, or you see, you know, some weak points, just toss it. It's not worth trying to reload it up. And what we do is we got to get our crimping. We got to get our depriming die, often referred to as decapping, and that's the one that has this rod poking out the bottom. Because what it's essentially going to do is I'm going to push the ram up, and the shell is going to go up inside here, and it's going to resize it so it makes it perfectly, you know, perfectly round or evenly around. And as it goes up inside here, that needle, that pin is going to push out the spent primer. I've already got my dies adjusted. This is a bushing on here. This bushing, and I have this nut that I screw down, so I've already got it pre-set for my depths within here. But if you haven't done that yet, you probably only have one bushing, so you're gonna have to take one out, put it in. And what you want to do is you want to take your ram, which is this guy, which is using your lever here, and push it all the way to the bottom as it goes up. And when you're initially seating your die, you want to make sure that it comes up to the bottom of the die. So the top of this shell holder right here, you want to make sure that it is coming up to the top. You can kind of see right there, they're basically just touching. And this is all the way down your the ram lever, I guess that's what it's called, and that it is just touching there to the bottom of your die. So boom, okay? That's kind of how you want to have it set up. This is the primer holder. These just slide in and out. There's two different sizes, one for large, one for small. So we're doing small pistol primers, and it just basically just slides right in the ram there, and we're ready to go ahead and deprime and reprime a shell. You can see I've got my priming tool here. Kind of show you how that works. All right, so we got this case. I'm gonna go ahead and slide it in the shell holder here. Gonna slide it all the way up. You'll hear the primer pop out. You might be able to see it over here. You heard it. And as it's all the way up, I'm going to go ahead and slide over this lever right here, which puts a new primer right there in the primer pocket. And I'm going to lift the ram rod back up, and you'll see as this goes down, the primer goes in underneath the shell. I'm going to push this all the way up. And I slide this out and you can see that we've got a brand new primer in there. You want to make sure this is flush. It's actually just inside, and you want to feel that and make sure that's real flat. It should not be protruding out. Like if you look at it at an angle in the light, it's hard to kind of do on camera, but you want to make sure that it is right below the bottom of that that pocket. It's sitting well within the pocket, and then it's not protruding out past. It should actually be just like flat, and you can check just by running your finger over it, or you can set it on something flat. After a while you'll get the feel for it. And then once I have this, I have a box right behind here, and I just basically throw it in there with its other cousins. So basically I'm just going to go ahead and do a few. And I do these in batches, so I'm going to go through this process first. I'm going to check that, make sure it feels good. Throw it in the box. Grab another case. Slide it all the way up. Get a primer in the pocket, the holder there. Pull it all the way down. Check it again. So I'll go through and I'll do a couple hundred of these, so that when I'm ready to load, I've already got cases that are already sized, primed, and ready to load. So go ahead and do a few more. I'm going to move the camera so you can see from the other side. Okay, so got the camera set up on the other side just so you can kind of see. Make sure this isn't one I just primed. Okay, so I'm going to slide that in the shell holder. It's going to go all the way up. Old primer pops out. Slide my tool over, puts a new one in there, and pull this all the way down. Push in, and should be good to go. Feels good. So I'm gonna go ahead and blow through a couple hundred of these, and when we come back for the next video, we'll be ready to ready to flare and charge our cases, which is the next step in this whole process. So stand by for the part 3 video, and we'll get ready.